Good morning, Homestead, and happy Friday. It is May 23rd, 2022. That's a very significant date here because it is the end of the year. We're getting there. So again, I want to shout congratulations to the class of 2022. Yesterday, they finished up their last instructional day of their high school career. Today, they're checking out, and next week, it's nothing but celebrations with grad practice and graduation there. So we're looking forward to seeing all of you and the proud parents of this class. I'll be one of them. My daughter's graduating as well too on Thursday at 5 o'clock for graduation. And that means there is just 3 days of school left. So that's, again, a couple of days of finals. We have a 3-day weekend coming up and then graduation on that Thursday. So I can't believe what the year's here already here. Although I think many of us are happy to get this year behind us because it has been a long and difficult year in a lot of ways. But here are a couple of pages of shout outs and recognition. So I'm going to jump onto that right now. There were two that were just mention the person's name. So one just said Maria Trejo, Dean, again, done a great job with a lot of things this year. So I can only imagine what this person was shouting out and recognizing them, but we know she's done a lot of great work. So thank you to Maria. Also for Lisa Klossnitzer, she's gotten several of these throughout the year. She is an English teacher, and again, she does a fabulous job there too. Also want to give a shout out to two other English teachers, Natalie Owsley and Megan Bridge, who are both the advisor of the Epitaph, our student newspaper, and the Pegasus yearbook, which is obviously our yearbook, and the yearbook is getting delivered out this week. Both of these advisors and their students earned recognition from the Journalism Educators Association of Northern California in a variety of categories, and those categories were in writing, design, photo, and art. So congratulations to the students, congratulations on the teachers for another great year of designing and leading these awesome student publications. There was a shout out also for Brian Dong, who's our assistant principal, and his secretary, Liz Angel, for coordinating the AP testing, a very complicated task indeed, and they did a great job of it, so thank you for that. Emily Bersaglia, who is one of our school psychologists, was also awarded the Laura Whitmore Service Award for Outstanding School Psych Practitioner. So again, a very prestigious honor. So thank you for her service to our students and to our staff and to our school as a whole. I also want to shout out to Dara Elaine Levy and Sam Fung, who are a part of our science department, who helped a group of Homestead students earn second place at the bioengineering high school competition at UC Berkeley. And this competition is the nation's largest engineering competition. So the fact that our students were able to place second is pretty amazing. So thank you to the students for representing Homestead in such a great way. I would tell you what it was that they did there, but I can't even explain it, so I wasn't going to try. But Dara and Sam did a great job in coaching and chaperoning, so thank you. Finally, as our athletics season come to an end here, I want to give a shout out to the boys volleyball team who beat Bishop O'Dowd on Saturday last weekend to claim the Division III NorCal Championship. That's a huge win and a huge honor, so thank you, coach and team and parents, for being such a great run at the end of the year here and for bringing that trophy home. Also, we have two track athletes that are moving on to the CIF state championships. They should be today and Saturday doing what they do best, which is Ning Ning O'Brien in girls discus and Eric Chan in the boys high jump. So congratulations to both them and to Coach Seeley and to all the folks who've been helping out along the way there. So thank you very much. Now it brings us to our questions and concerns. So again, I know this one's been sort of an ongoing, we've answered it a few times, but I'm happy to answer again. It says, how can you or HHS ensure that we do not run out of senior ball tickets for the next year's class of 2023? This is very poor planning that we ran out of tickets this year. HHS should make sure this doesn't happen again. Who is in charge of senior ball? How can parents and students give input about this for future years? Who do we contact to fix this situation? And believe me, this work is already being done. Again, I want you to explain that this wasn't like somebody's mistake. This wasn't, some people just not paying attention. This is actually, we've never run out of tickets. I think we talked about it. We've never sold out before. But this year we did. And so that was a very unusual thing. When you do plan for senior balls and events like that, and if you've ever planned for a wedding, you have to kind of give some accounts of how many people are going to be there, and you don't want to overspend and say, oh, we want room for 800 people or 1,000 people, and we only have 500 that come. So we really do, there's a part of planning. Now, what happens is this is one of those activities that our staff and students work together in terms of our leadership team, our ASB officers and whatnot. So our ASB officers they are responsible for organizing class events, right? They are supported by Brian Dong and Jessica Kirby. Brian is our assistant principal and Jessica is our leadership teacher. And so they work together to a year to two in advance to try and secure places and whatnot. And so we tend to use very similar locations every year. We kind of rotate between them. So they've held us before. They've done a great job. There have been some restrictions in the past in regards to COVID. So that does limit some venues and some that we can go to and things that we can do with those venues. So that's something we also have to pay attention to. And again, they've already started working on this next year. So we do know we want everyone to go. It was unfortunate this year, but it's never happened before. So I doubt it's going to happen again. So they are planning for that as we go ahead. So thank you for your concern. But those are the folks that are working on it right now. There was also this is maybe more of I guess it's a concern, but also more of a suggestion, but they would like to have more practical social emotional learning situations in school, not just words and emails, but real attention to the social and emotional needs of teens, more attention to student needs, not cookie cutter solutions. I totally agree. And I would say over the last few years, we have doubled the amount of mental health opportunities and things that we do here. Probably still is not enough. As we know, mental health is extremely important to everybody, to our students, to our staff, to our family. But just again, we have definitely done a lot more over the years. And I'm going to take a little offense at the cookie cutter solutions and you're saying we're just doing words. There's a lot that our staff does in terms of the work that we're doing here. So we do have school-based therapists. There are no other schools in the area that have as many school-based therapists as we do. And these are licensed marriage and family therapists that work with our general ed population and some work with our special ed population. But those are folks that are dedicated to dealing with mental health and social emotional learning. They are the ones who started the wellness check-ins that were going on during the pandemic, and they still have that. So that's a place for you to send in your concerns. If you have a student or a friend or someone that you know needs to have some attention to them, we definitely go through those. And we've seen a lot more students be referred to us in that way. So we've been working a lot harder with a lot more students in that regard. We did have 4 advisories this year that were created by our district mental health team. So again, we spent a good chunk of our 10 advisories going over mental health, social, emotional learning, that kind of thing. We've even added time in our new tutorial policy for students to be able to work on mental health and given them some activities during the day. There's a poster in every classroom where students can use their phone to get to a QR code that teaches them some mindfulness practices, some breathing techniques, some different strategies to help them cope with stress. So there are things like that we're looking at. And we're going to be next year bringing in some guest speakers during tutorial that might also help with that topic. And what we've also seen is a lot more teachers adding in space in their classes for things like social emotional learning, where you're seeing teachers talking about mindfulness and how to have coping strategies and how to be better organized so that you can reduce your stress. Just this whole work that they've been doing the last few weeks to try and deal with the amount of pressure and stress that folks are having. And because there's COVID upticks, because the testing is coming up, we still have to get to the end of year and do some assessments to make sure that students have learned what they've learned. But they're definitely trying to be thoughtful and mindful in the way that they do that with students. So again, could we do more? Sure, absolutely. And will we do more? Yes, we will. We'll continue to boost this up because it's become even over the last few years, a more hot topic than it has been previously. But we already have a lot of tools in place. So again, I'm happy to talk about those more, but I hope, and if you need to have any of these resources, again, go to that wellness check-in, email me, and I'm happy to refer you over to folks. There was a statement here as well about anti-Semitism is still an issue that isn't addressed enough in the curriculum and not during advisory at special assemblies. Please let the community know if the school needs help from organizations like JFCS or ADL. And totally agree here that we had actually a plan to do an advisory this year, but it did not quite get organized in time. So we're kind of holding that off until next year. So we will definitely be doing an advisory on it next year. It's a topic that our students definitely were interested in doing. It's something that there have been issues at our school and in other schools in the district regarding anti-Semitism. So definitely trying to do that. We have partnered with other Jewish community groups in the past, and we will continue to do so moving forward. So definitely, and even in this time where we didn't get our advisory fully put together, there are some folks from the Jewish community that we've definitely been working with. So definitely looking to make that happen next year. So sorry I didn't get off this year, but again, we've got it. We're going to get it ready for next year. This is a suggestion as well too for next year's finals. It helps to have the enrichment periods in the morning, and again at the end of the day. It allows students with extra time accommodations to complete tests in one sitting. Yeah, again, this was sort of a longer statement that was made here. And so they started off talking about some concerns about the amount of work that this person's student was facing, or students were facing. If they had a bunch of projects and tests and things were all due at the same time. And that is an age-old problem in high schools, because you have so many different classes and so many different things competing with each other, that it is hard to coordinate a lot of that. And people are trying to be mindful about when they schedule things and how they schedule things. But I think, that's an area of improvement that we can definitely work on. But again, we have been discussing as a staff, the amount of stress that we're seeing in our students and seeing in ourselves. And as I mentioned in a slide or two before, that with the uptick in COVID positive cases, and even the recent mass shooting incidents, has really put a stress and strain on our kids. And so we have been really talking about how can we do some finals that show mastery, that have students allow us to see that they've demonstrated some mastery, but maybe make them not quite so stressful. And that's a pretty tall order. So we're definitely looking into that. And so again, teachers are making some of those decisions right now. And we haven't created a final schedule yet for next year. And we have a brand new schedule starting next year, if you remember. So that may adjust what we're doing. But this is something that I can bring up when we do go to sit down and talk about that. So thank you for that suggestion. The question is, we hear that there's new construction planned on campus for next year and that classrooms are moving around. How much disruption is expected? What kind of remodels are planned? This past week, my students complained a lot of construction noise that affected tests and learning. So yeah, I don't think I've been shy about the amount of construction that's going on and will continue to go on. That's the bond measure that had previously been voted in. That's the one that has also been put on the ballot for this June as well. But right now, the current plans for Homestead is to modernize the A and B buildings. The A building is the one where the office used to be. That one has been going on since last summer. And it's definitely been an intrusive one because it's right in the middle of campus. And it's scheduled to finish here in July. B building is going to go down for abatement. What we mean by clear everything out and get started again. So it's going to go through the same process that the A building did. It's not going to be torn down. It's going to be modernized. That's going to start in early June, right after graduation. And then it's scheduled to be completed in the summer of 2023. So again, B building is going to be in construction all year long, just like A was. We are in the process of figuring out where everyone's going to go. There's going to be a lot of room sharing next year. So definitely is impacting where people are going. So that is the movement. But the movement shouldn't be any sort of an impact to students. That's more of an impact to staff. They have to get their stuff packed. We have to move them. But when we start next year, everyone's going to be in their new or different rooms, and they'll be going from there. We are moving people that are currently in the A or in the B building into a variety of buildings. It could be the A building, could be the C building, L, even into some of the portables. So there is going to be a different, you have to learn kind of where people are again. There are going to be, right now there's fencing around the A building. That's going to go down so that obviously people can access the A building, but there's still going to be fencing coming both from the staff lot and from the student lot in order for the construction companies to gain access to the B building. So it is going to be a little intrusive in terms of how students move around campus, but we have been working with the construction crew about how to provide some safe alleyways and pathways so that people can cross through. It will be a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to say the fencing is going to be sort of stretched across campus. It's going to feel a little bit bisected, but again, no more than what we've been facing sort of this year. There was an increase in some loud construction noise going on in the last couple of weeks. They are trying to finish the building really quickly. They have to jackhammer and saw cut up some of the concrete, the old concrete that's around the A building. So they've been doing that, but they have been, we have been asking them to shut down at certain times when tests are going on. There was noise last week during senior finals. But that isn't happening today and didn't happen today or next week when we're doing finals. So they'll be shutting down for that. But yeah, it's construction. There is some noise and it's been loud because we're right next to the construction. So it's been fun trying to deal with that and as well as trying to get done to the end of the year, but that's going to pause here for a little bit until we're through with graduation. So, but yeah, definitely next year, B building is our next on schedule. And then again, if the bond measure passes, then there will be more work to the S building, which is our science building, the C and the L buildings as well too. On a bit of sad news, if you hadn't seen the email, we have canceled senior celebration. That was supposed to be happening on Tuesday, the 31st. With the positive uptick in COVID cases, I didn't say that correctly. With the uptick in positive COVID cases, we have moved big events to outside. So like we had senior awards outside the other night. It went off really well, but it's a different program than what we do with senior celebration. It's more musical and student performances along with some speeches. We were concerned that it really wasn't, going to be able to be set up correctly to hear and to properly enjoy the ceremony. So we have decided to cancel it for this year. So I'm really sorry about that. I know people had worked hard on it to get started, and so we apologize for that. But out of an abundance of concern for safety, but also a concern to make sure that we would have celebrated in the correct way. So that is unfortunately canceled. But we still have other fun things to go on because there's only one more weekly video to go here. So I'll do one more next week. I have cut off though the survey. At this point, we're kind of busy getting things done, but I'll have one more video at the end of the year to kind of end our year up and get ourselves started for next year. So again, no more survey, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. We'll have one more to go after this. And that brings us to our last remaining important dates of the year. So again, on Monday, there is no school. It's Memorial Day, so a 3-day weekend. Finals are started today, and they will go through until till Thursday. And then graduation is at 5 p.m. On that Thursday. And just in case you're starting to plan for next year, our first day of school is August 22nd for the 22-23 school year. There'll be all sorts of announcements coming up about when our Homestead orientation program is, when our parent orientation program is, when Roundup is, all those different things. So those will be coming up soon, but that August 22nd date is definitely out there and confirmed. So put that one on the calendar. Unless you're a senior parent, then you don't have to pay attention to it anymore. So again, just wanted to say congratulations once again to our seniors. Thank you to everybody for making this a great year as possible, even though it was a very tough year. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.